Hello everyone, this is Melanie and I am So I'm not saying that each of these things are not amazing products because I absolutely love each of them. depending on where you get it. So if you do the math of what I have here, we're looking at $30 to $40. And this item is something you're going to have to replace. And this item may last you a long time, but eventually would be something you would replace. This is basically a 3-step cleaning system if you look at this. First step, second step, third step. So let's move this aside and let's talk about my new system. Now I will tell you right up front that the little paint bucket is part of one of the things that it may be a limited quantity item. The packaging is one of the most expensive things about this product for me because I just could not settle on anything else. And it's been really hard to find at a very affordable price, but it just seems so appropriate for the system, and they're very difficult to find. So there are larger ones that I have found, but again, this particular size may be limited in quantity. So when you get your kit, if you notice that the size of the paint bucket's a little taller or different size or whatever, that might just be the way it's going to have to be, because I only was able to get 80 of these. And so packaging may change over time. The other thing is that I just thought those would be cute for storage, but also for travel. So let's say you're going on a trip, you put everything back in your little storage bucket and take it with you for portability. So that is what this is about. I created a tag that will tell you to take the washer that is included, and I just tied it with some string here, some twine, to pop the top on your paint bucket. So you want to pay attention, because on the flip side is a removable card that I have glue dotted. I'm not going to pull it off here, but it's just glue dotted on with the instructions for the 3-step system. I'm going to leave mine on there because I just think that it's a nice thing to be able to keep up with it. Then that's why it's glue dotted on the inside of your bucket. But this will tell you how to prevent, preserve, and protect your paintbrushes. So I'm going to set this right here just for now. Inside you're going to find one of my round business cards. It's just going to tell you how you can follow me on social media. I'm going to put that aside as well. Now here is the fun part. I hope anyway. I feel like I'm opening a Christmas present right now. Like, I'm so happy with all of this. So the container, like I said, is just going to be for storage. I'm just going to set this aside. Y'all, this whole set makes me just feel happiness. I mean, like, it just brings me such happiness. But if you knew how long it took me to design all this and cut all of this, you'd know why it took me like 2.5 months to develop this entire system. All right, so let's start with how the system works. So the jar itself has your products in it, along with this bottle of liquid. And I'll turn it over so you can see. There's liquid in here. And I'm going to explain like I would on the cosmetic wipes. And that's going to replace the cosmetic wipes. Now, it's going to take a little getting used to for those of you who use the wipes. You're used to a little thinner surface, and you know, it's a little thicker. Step 2, the preservation spray, the preservation solution. You will have nothing on this pad. It will be clean when you go to brush it off before you paint. Then you're going to protect with your soap. Step 1 is prevention, step 2 is preservation, step 3 is protection. And that is why this is called a first aid kit. Now, if you're looking at this and you're thinking, that's a lot of steps. Once you get into this habit of rinsing your brush, that you're always rinsing your brush, right? You rinse your brush when you paint, no matter what. This may be a new step for you because you may not have been using the cosmetic wipes. Well, you may also be the ones that are throwing your brushes out after your painting sessions or after a paint by number project. And you might be like, why am I throwing my brushes out all the time? That's probably why. The cosmetic wipes have saved me thousands on brushes. I mean, thousands of dollars. So this is replacing cosmetic wipes. I will still be carrying the cosmetic wipes as long as I can, because there are a lot of people who may not be able to afford this system yet and will eventually maybe, you know, be able to get it. I'm not trying to stop selling those right off the bat. Eventually, maybe everybody will convert to this system, but until then, I will continue to sell the pharmacy wipes. So what happens if these little pads start getting stained? Well, first of all, they're machine washable. You can rinse them off at night with, you know, soapy water if you want. let them air dry, stick them back in your little container, and they're good to go. Now I do have to mention these are custom made to fit my jar. The ones you see on Amazon for cosmetic purposes and whatever, they don't work with my system. I had to actually wait an extra month and a half to launch this program because the first batch that I was sent were a little too large for the jar because they sent me the wrong size. They custom made them, but they sent me the wrong size. So I ended up having to wait for them to remake 2,500 pads. So and that makes it portable and able to go back down into your paint bucket for portability. So that will be available also as another I'm going to lay this brush down and leave it to dry. And I want this soap to harden and hold these in place. Now you notice I flat, and so all you have to do is just really kind of, I taper them into a point and then flatten them out. who are interested in joining my Patreon, there's going to be information in the description below about how to join that. It's only $12 a month, but it gives you access to products like this, pre-orders, things like that. So there's a lot of really good perks for 12 bucks a month. Actually, that $12 donates to my channel, and it gives you perks along the way and benefits that nobody else gets. So be sure to check that out. Join me on the Facebook group. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you'll be able to get more information, tips, and tricks for paint by numbers, diamond painting, and lots of other hobbies and crafts. You guys, thanks as always for watching, and I will see you back soon.